Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you? Of course. How far is the word coming up, sir?
Breaking news coming out of Mississippi a little over 20 days after Nolan Wells' disappearance and death. There now appears to be a major break in the case that the public is finally hearing. Yesterday, we would release an extended version of the audio call his friends would make to the STO company when they alleged they were having issues with their boat and was sinking.
Okay,
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question.
Now, this version we shared, originally obtained by TMZ, would only capture when you first hear the driver of the boat speak with the operator. Now, late Saturday night, local outlet Locks would go on to release a completely unedited version of the call provided by the Mississippi Department of Maritime Resources. And in the first few seconds appears for some that not only Wells was on the boat with his friends when they left Horn Island, that he also appeared to have passed away amongst them. At the top of the call, while whole music played, you can hear panic from an unidentified young woman who appears to say, "Nolan," followed by, "Oh my God." Now, as the driver of the boat tries to explain the situation regarding the boat itself, you would then hear a male voice in the background seemingly yell, "Wake up, wake the F up."
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the word coming up, sir?
Now, of course, due to the conversations in the background not taking place a part of the actual call, the way some are hearing this could be challenged by those who choose not to see it that way. Now, as an attempt to better make out the background chaos, we will remove the hold music at the beginning in an edited version.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the word coming up, sir?
Now to note, we as well personally can't help but to hear what many are now picking up as well as potential's final moments now that this version of the toll call has been released. Now for some, as the call continued, there appeared to be other questionable moments in the background for listeners as a boat driver identified as Wyatt Pyron continued to speak with the operator. Like at the end of the call when you would hear the called Seto captain express that he got a direct call from the grandfather Pyron who would tell him that a toll was no longer needed. This, for some, would be the beginning of a cover-up to minimize witnesses.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
He said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that Jerry. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So.
All
I'm
right.
guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah,
Or,
they're in a panic.
Since the beginning of this case, many have questioned Wells's friend's story, as many things appeared inconsistent throughout, and those online will call out the entire situation as being a cover-up of the death of another black teen in Mississippi. So, what happens next? Given that this call is now officially 22 days old, we're certain the local officials and investigators have examined it by now. And given that agencies like the FBI are involved, we can also be certain that they have the resources to completely clean distorted audio with specialized forensic audio tools that can isolate speech. Now, according to reports, the FBI has perfected this ability since the 1960s as a way to improve distorted speech from wiretaps, 911 calls, and covert body wires. Now, in what we unveiled is the case, and we all have now witnessed that Nolan was back on the boat that day where he potentially lost his life. Many individuals can now face consequences, like all of his friends who were on the boat who never gave Wells's family and authorities the truth and potentially helped get rid of his body. The stepmother of Warren Hudson, Judge Ashley Cole, who would push potential false statements, the grandfather, Wyatt Pyron, who looks to have helped his grandson avoid serious consequences, the adults who supplied the teens with alcohol, causing them to potentially make terrible decisions that day, and local law enforcement for failing to aggressively move forward on making arrests when there were signs early on, like Exhibit A, a picture of Nolan and his underage friends drinking, and more specifically for Sheriff John Lebb, for expressing he didn't see any signs of foul play before an autopsy was even conducted. This recent update not only could highlight criminal bias, but also media bias, because again, this audio is over 20 days old. But for some reason, none of the major outlets played it in its entirety, which would have captured the slurred speech by Pyron, the boat's driver, thus potentially incriminating him of boating under the influence, which again is against maritime law, as well as capturing him stating that none of the occupants of the boat were over 21 years old, the legal drinking age in Mississippi.
Okay,
How many
what's
adults
going
on board?
So, there are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question.
On Thursday, Mississippi District Attorney Angel Myers McIlrath would speak out about the case and would defend the pace of the investigation as it would now be presented to a grand jury when it's complete.
I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands. Since Nolan was reported missing, local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have worked around the clock investigating what happened to him. Every piece of evidence must be examined. Every credible lead must be followed to its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. I also understand that many people have questions about why more information has not been released publicly. In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation. Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation and the grand jury proceeding. As your district attorney, I have an ethical obligation to avoid public statements that could influence witnesses, prejudice a proceeding, or compromise the fairness of the legal process. My obligation extends to and requires me to use reasonable care to ensure investigating agencies avoid making those statements and releasing information as well. These rules exist to protect the search for the truth, not to prevent it. When the public asks, what about this, or have they looked at that, or did they think about this? The answer is yes. Those are the same questions investigators ask. The difference is that we can't publicly discuss the evidence, the interviews, or what those efforts have uncovered while the investigation is underway.
As far as Wells' family, they continue to ask witnesses to come forward and are expected to investigate Wells's phone with investigators assigned to the case. We all are also awaiting the findings from Wells' first autopsy, now that the independent autopsy deems his cause of death as undetermined. And so, if this captured audio accurately depicts what many are now hearing, the pain and lack of trust that Black Americans have expressed becomes more valid. And on the birth of Imtil July 25th, 85 years later, Mississippi gains another stain on the state's history. Make sure you are subscribed to True Crime Revealed so you do not miss what comes next.